The environmental certificate for the Prince Rupert gas transmission pipeline has officially expired now after being originally issued on a 5-year term in 2014 and then given a 5-year extension. Now, PRGT has applied to the BC government for a substantial start determination, which would extend the environmental certificate for the life of the project. But some are urging the provincial government to not grant this application yet. Here's CFTK-TV's Jaylene Matthews with more information.
Our newly elected Minister for Environment, Tamara Davidson, has a large decision on her plate when it comes to the future of the Prince Rupert gas transmission pipeline. The proposed pipeline would run between Hudson's Hope and the proposed Pacific Northwest LNG natural gas facility on Laylu Island near Prince Rupert, which is owned by the Nisga'a Nation and Western LNG. The project is currently pre-construction, although its environmental certificate was issued 10 years ago. The company states external factors for the delay, such as market changes, the COVID-19 pandemic, and the Ksila Sims LNG project's delay. The PRGT is listed as a critical part of the Ksila Sims LNG project, which was included in the Nisga'a Nation's plan for economic independence. In PRGT's request, they outline their commitment to Indigenous engagement and negotiating project agreements with the implicated nations. However, Tara Marsden, WILP's Sustainability Director for the Gittinyao Hereditary Chiefs, says her nation has not been adequately consulted, even though she says the pipeline would cross 50 kilometers of her nation's territory.
And we have been raising concerns over the past year and a half, 2 years, just over the real change that we've seen since the original authorizations that were in 2014. And so we really want to look at these projects as new projects and not as they were considered 10 years ago. And one of the main concerns being raised by our chiefs, by our members, is climate change and the fact that there really isn't a strong evidentiary case for LNG as a positive contributor to climate. So it's actually worse for the climate than coal in some of the recent studies that have just in the past couple of years that have come out.
Marsden says that freezing the environmental certificate and going ahead with the substantial start just doesn't make sense with climate change.
Because already we've seen so much in the past 10 years that has changed, and that's not being considered in the authorization now, and it would never be if they got this substantial start. So that's again why we've called for a new assessment looking at the real evidence for net zero, the claims of net zero, and LNG being a climate friendly fossil fuel, renewing that and looking with all of the best available science and evidence that we have in 2024 as opposed to what was available 10 years ago.
A decision on the substantiated start is expected by the spring of 2025. For CFTK News in Terrace, I'm Jaylene Matthews.